The Lord of the Rings is filled with incredible characters and story arcs, ranging from simple hobbits to heroic figures of men. So the question is, who is the most important or influential character in this Tolkien story? There are many options, and some may even argue there is not one main important character, which is a fair take as well. But let's say there is. But to decide this, firstly we need to define what we mean by important/influential. In this discussion, important/influential refers to a character who was integral in the destruction of the One Ring and the defeat of evil, and without their actions, there would be a less likely chance that the ring would have been destroyed and the Dark Lord Sauron defeated. There are 4 characters that I have shortlisted, as I believe without the actions and heroics of them, Sauron would not have been defeated. The first character is Frodo Baggins. The simple hobbit from the Shire, Bag End kickstarts the story by firstly plucking the courage to go on an adventure and take the ring to Rivendell, where its fate would be decided. The majority of the story in part 1 of the Fellowship in the books and the first hour and a half in the movies is governed by the actions and determination of Frodo, accompanied by his gardener Sam and Merry and Pippin. His bravery is also an underestimated factor, as when taken by the Barrow-wights, he plucked up the courage to fight them away and keep the One Ring safe. The trend of Frodo trying to keep the One Ring safe, as mentioned earlier, is key to his influence, even risking his own life at Weathertop to make sure the Nine wouldn't get the ring. The willingness in these key moments to take up the task/mantle is key as to why Frodo is one of the most influential characters, as this is perfectly displayed during the Council of Elrond, where again a simple hobbit takes up the task of taking the One Ring to Mordor. When faced with these decisions, he pushes forward, and consequently Gandalf and the others follow him, creating the Fellowship of the Ring. An underrated aspect of Frodo's character is his instinct and decision making. His instinct comes into play when figuring out that they were being followed by a distant but familiar Gollum, first in Khazad-dûm, but also when travelling down the Anduin. Another important decision was having to leave the Fellowship after seeing Boromir corrupted by the ring, a key decision within the story of The Lord of the Rings. Frodo's intuition and instinct comes into play once again when deciding to trust the creature Gollum, a character embodied with pain and grief. Though Gollum would ultimately betray Frodo right at the end, without his guidance from Emyn Muil to the Dead Marshes to Ithilien, then you could have argued that Frodo and Sam would have potentially never have made it to Mordor. The biggest importance and influence as to why Frodo could be argued as number 1 is due to him resisting the influence of the ring right until the very end, of course. There is a reason why no one else but Frodo could have taken up the mantle, due to the pureness of hobbits, which allowed the ring to be taken from Bag End to Mount Doom without the wielder not being fully corrupted. Without Frodo, the ring doesn't make it to Mount Doom, signifying his importance. Now that is Frodo's case outlined, now let's set the case for the loving grey wizard himself, Gandalf. Though Frodo was the instrument of the tale, Gandalf is almost like the architect, as he sets the plays and plans in motion, and is most prevalent in moving the plot forward. Even at the beginning, we wouldn't have even found out the ring Frodo had would be the One Ring, after Gandalf was reading the scrolls and accounts of Isildur in Minas Tirith. Gandalf's significance in the story is even showcased by not killing Gollum after interrogation, knowing he would have a greater part to play before the end, and the creature definitely did. It was originally Gandalf's idea for the ring to be taken to Rivendell, again showing him manipulating and architecting the major events and plans that encompass the story. He also did all he could to support and save these journeys and plans, such as fighting off the Ringwraiths before they could reach the Hobbits and Aragorn, alongside the will of Elrond. Ultimately, it can be argued that it was Gandalf's plan to have the ring cast in the fire, a momentous moment in the story setting the primary objective which Frodo and Sam would complete. As mentioned earlier, Gandalf did all he could to protect his plans and the quest of the ring, which is why he is so influential, such as fighting with the Balrog at the bridge of Khazad-dûm, where the quest could have so easily had failed. Another momentous moment in this story. You could even argue that he almost sacrificed himself for the cause after killing the Balrog and the spirit passing out his body. Now, Gandalf the White, the wizard, was heavily influential in Rohan's recovery and restoration from the hands of Saruman, and ultimately saving the kingdom of men from falling when returning to the siege on the first light on the 5th day with the rest of the Rohirrim. If Rohan had been lost, the Three Peoples would have been even weaker, and Gandalf was influential in halting that. He halted that even further in administrating and defending Gondor during the siege of Minas Tirith. Gandalf kindled hope into the men of Minas Tirith when riding out and saving Faramir from the Nazgûl, and even took up leadership of the defense of the city once Denethor abandoned all hope. Gandalf's plans, leadership and heroics saved both kingdoms of men, thwarting Sauron's plans twice as he was instructed. Once elected as the leader for the final battles, Gandalf's final plan was to trap Sauron at the Black Gate to allow Frodo enough time to cross, his plans again coming into play. The final reason for his impact I will leave to the end. Samwise Gamgee, a true friend and beacon of hope, the fundamental characteristic and trait which makes him so important and influential to this story. Frodo even says it here.
Frodo wouldn't have got far without Sam.
Which is true, as he elicits hope into the story, and whenever Frodo was in peril or the quest to destroy the ring was in danger, he was always there, always able to be relied on, and most importantly was there from the beginning to the end. Even when first eavesdropping for Meriadoc Brandybuck, he became Frodo's first companion, and when eavesdropping again at the Council of Elrond, he voluntarily joined Frodo again, due to his loyalty and friendship. Though Frodo took up the mantle and was the instrument alongside Gandalf making all the plans and being the architect, none of them would have succeeded if Sam wasn't there, as the ring could have easily had fallen to the Orcs during multiple occasions. First, when Frodo was attacked in Shelob's lair, out of nowhere Sam comes and saves the day. He even became a ring bearer for a bit and saved the quest from taking the One Ring off the body of Frodo, and importantly, instead of trying to get revenge on Gollum, he was focused on completing the quest. Like Frodo, whilst being a ring bearer, he did not become fully corrupted, and in the Orc tunnels and the Tower of Cirith kept the ring safe while showing his bravery. His last act of bravery and hope came at the last hurdle when he carried Frodo up the slopes of Mount Doom to make sure he would get to his destination. This moment of bravery and honour was a defining moment which made sure the ring would be destroyed. Sam was the glue and reason Gandalf's plan succeeded, and the reason Frodo made it to Mount Doom. He was heavily influential. Finally, we have the Ranger and eventual King of the Three Peoples of the West, Aragorn. By being the true heir to the throne of Gondor, despite at the beginning not wanting the title that much in the movies, in the books he was driven from the start, especially when in Rivendell, Narsil was reforged and named Andúril by Aragorn. The importance and influence around Aragorn is that he ultimately stepped up and united the Three Peoples. The story of the Lord of the Rings is not only about the ring being destroyed, but also Aragorn restoring his lineage, and by doing that he also has to step up a few times throughout the story. For example, when Gandalf was meant to meet the four hobbits of the Prancing Pony in Bree, Aragorn took up the mantle and took the hobbits to Rivendell, and even protected them at Weathertop. Then once Gandalf, the leader of the Fellowship, fell, Aragorn stepped up and led a mourning fellowship successfully to Lothlorien and assumed control. After the breaking of the Fellowship, Aragorn would not let Merry and Pippin be led to torment and death, and so the three hunters emerged, including Legolas and Gimli, wherein Rohan, where his leadership skills were again present at the Battle of the Hornburg. He was most instrumental in reclaiming the city of Minas Tirith with Elrond's sons and the rangers who had stood with him when attacking the Corsair ships after assuming the army of the dead. Now with the army behind him with the banner of Elendil, he was transitioning from Ranger to King, which resulted in Aragorn leading the three peoples of the West at the Battle of the Black Gates, giving Frodo the opportunity to throw the ring into the fire. Aragorn is important and influential to this story, as it is a journey of him continually stepping up and assuming responsibility to finally become king, with the storyline mirroring that of the destruction of the ring itself. Even the last book is called The Return of the King. To finally answer the question as to who is the most important / influential character in The Lord of the Rings, there are many options just like the ones discussed, and you might agree or disagree with this conclusion, and we would love to know who you thought it was in the comments below. But for this video, the answer is Gandalf. For if not Gandalf, then the One Ring would have been captured in the Shire, or the quest to destroy the ring wouldn't have been decided at the council, Rohan would have fallen, so would have Gondor as well. But ultimately at the end of the Gandalf section, I mentioned one point I would leave to the end, which is that his mercy shown towards Gollum and knowing he would have a bigger part to play for good or ill was correct, as Gollum seized the ring from Frodo in the pits of Mount Doom and unintentionally fell into the fire due to his own fault destroying the ring, which of course was due to divine intervention. The One Ring would eventually betray all ring bearers and even took Frodo in the end, so by allowing Gollum to stay in the story, it allowed the ring to be destroyed. Clearly Gollum could have easily been a character listed in today's video as well due to his immense impact on the story. Thank you guys for watching, I really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe. But until the next video my friends, goodbye.